celebrate Global Accessibility Awareness Day. And I am going to be recording this session.
Yeah, I just got it started.
You just started? Okay, yeah. Great. I'm going to be recording this session. Mitch just started it. And so if you don't want to be seen, don't turn on your camera. But we are going to record it for individuals who would have liked to attend today, but who could not attend today. And Mitch will give you a little more background on some of the features that we're going to be using today as part of his presentation. So he's going to be modeling accessibility as we go. So it is my pleasure to introduce you to Mitch Baird, who's our presenter today. And Mitch and I have worked on a number of accessibility projects, and I have found him to be a fount of knowledge and good humor, and an amazing supporter and advocate for disability community and inclusion. And so we're delighted that you're here today for this broad overview of accessibility features regarding documents. And with that little introduction, I am going to turn it over to Mitch. Over to you, Mitch.
Hey, everyone. So I just closed the poll. Let me just get that off the screen here. So a little bit what we're going to try to do today. Maureen, if you want to keep an eye on the
I will.
folks coming in, that would be great.
The lobby's good. Yeah, for sure.
But a little bit about what we're going to try to work on today. Part of Microsoft Word, everybody uses it. It's pretty common application. But one of the common features that are overlooked is accessibility features in Word. And part of accessibility requirements for large organizations, schools, those types of things, municipalities, governments, documents are supposed to be fully accessible. And for Global Accessibility Awareness Day, we decided to do this event. So we thought we'd keep it practical and do a practical demonstration webinar for everyone to show you how to create a fully accessible Word document. Because a lot of people overlook that, and there's kind of two pieces to getting a document fully accessible. The first step is getting the formatting right, and then the next step is getting the accessibility requirements right. So I thought I'd kind of do this as a bit of a scenario, let's call it, for everybody's okay with my screen there, Maureen? You guys can see it. It's got the Word document up. So what I'm trying
I can see it, and we're getting thumbs up across the board.
Perfect. Excellent. So when you and the scenario today for this webinar is I'm sitting in my office. It's probably about 3 o'clock on a long weekend, and my boss has decided to shoot me an email saying they have to get a report in by the end of Friday, and it's 3 o'clock and it has to be in by 4:15, and the document, according to the requirements, has to be fully accessible and properly formatted. So I've got a document here. I'm just scrolling through it, and it's got a bad font. It's not the right size. It's kind of all over the place. It doesn't look that good. So I'm going to take us through formatting this document right from what I received from my boss right till hopefully it ends up being fully accessible and properly formatted. And we'll do that together. And then I'll make sure I send out these documents afterwards so everyone can see kind of what they look like before and after. And I've already got a pre-baked one that I'll share with folks as well. But if you take a look at Word, I think the first thing that I like to do is to set up my workspace in Word to make sure that when I format this document, I've got my accessibility checks open and my navigation pane open. So when I format the document, it's formatted it's formatted correctly, then I can do the accessibility checks, because that's the order I like to work in. There's always different ways to do these things, but formatting, then accessibility works for me. But I got to set up my workspace first. So what I like to do is right off the hop, click on view and then navigation pane, and that'll open my navigation pane. And I make sure I have the headings tab open. So right now, this particular document has no headings listed, and you need to have headings listed um, for to have a proper document, to have the document properly formatted for your table of contents and your navigation for later. So people can jump to different parts of the document if they're using a touch screen or maybe a straw, which a lot of folks use who might not have mobility in their arms and legs. So that's the first thing I like to open up. And the second thing I like to open up is to open up the accessibility view. And there's a few places to the accessibility checker, and there's a few places to find that. You see at the bottom here where it kind of gives you a little bit of an update on what's going on with the document, how many words, how many pages. There's a little option here that says accessibility. It's actually asking you to investigate it. You can click on that and it'll open the accessibility checker, and you'll see that, of course, the boss sent me a bunch of document with a ton of errors that I got to fix. So we'll get into that. But you can also go into review and check accessibility as well. And I like to keep that running while I'm working on my document. And this is how I like to set up my workspace when I'm ready to format my document and then work on the accessibility stuff. Because formatting the document will get rid of a lot of these errors as we go along. So we're going to try to fix all those up as we go. So the first thing you have to think about is all text should be left justified to make an accessible document. And you'll see here that the title of my document is over to the right. So first thing I want to do is make sure that that text is in line, and I'll move it over there. So now I've got my text in the right spot, and this is the title of my document. So the other thing you really want to do is make sure the titling of your document is correct. So I want to make sure that that's the title. So I'm going to copy that. And to add a title to your document, a lot of people think you just have to make this bold or bigger, right? What I need to do is add the title into the information of the document. So you go back to your file menu, hit info, and you'll see there's a spot here to add a title. That's where your title goes. So I'm just going to copy that in there. Then you just click off it. Now the document actually has a title. So if it's put into a SharePoint library, or if it's kept in a OneDrive or Google Drive, people will search for that title. A lot of people confuse file name for title. This is where you want to add the title to your document. If you're using meta tags in your SharePoint library to search for documents, that's where you would put that. But always add the title first. The second thing I would probably do with this document is I would make sure that I have all fonts should be 12 point and Arial or equivalent type fonts for legibility as well. So the next thing I like to do is click select, and then I like to select all text with similar formatting. Click that, and now I'm selected all the text that's not in a table that has similar formatting with each other's, because everything was set as normal formatting. So what I want to do is make sure that I take all my text and make it 12 point, and then make sure I've got an Arial or equivalent font selected. So now all the text in my document has the correct sizing. It's all 12 point. So that's good. So now we're kind of getting somewhere. Then if you like, you can set that as your default template. If you ever wanted to add options to different styles later, you're more than welcome to do that. And you can set that as a default template when you create documents. You have to apply this template if you get a pre-done document. Okay, so now I've got the title in my document. Now I can start formatting the headings, and I kind of want to go through and look for all the headings. But since this is a title, I want to highlight that text. Let me fix that. Make sure that's a capital. So this is my title. Highlight it. And then I want to go to my styles menu. And I want to find title. So I'm going to assign that text a job. And the job of that text is to make sure it's a title. So I've highlighted it, and then I hit the title. And you'll see it changes the look of the text. And it also makes that a title of the document. Now what I want to do is start to assign headings. And headings in Word show up in the navigation pane, so people can, again, click on it and jump to different parts of the document. So you can, in Word, it's a little bit different than a web document. In Word, you can have as many heading 1s as you want. In web documents, you want to have one heading 1 and multiple heading 2s. Yeah, sorry, Colleen, we've got the mics muted. If you have any questions, you can just type them into the chat. We'll keep that open. So what we want to do is start to format the headings. So I'm gonna assign that to heading 1, and you'll see how it shows up on the left side here under headings. And I want to make that a heading 2, and you'll see how it indents 1 space. And then I want to start to go through and I want to find all my headings. So I'll make that a heading 1. I'll make that a heading 1. No, that's not a heading. Here's another heading. I'm going to make that a heading 1. And now I've got my navigation. So if I click on these, it jumps me around inside of the document to go to different spots. We'll make that a heading. There's a heading. Oops. There's a heading. There's a heading. There's a heading. I've gone through all of these. Now, another thing, a lot of times what folks will do is they'll say, hey, I'd like to start a new page here. So I'll start to hit the enter button a bunch of times to kind of drop it down to the next level. You want to kind of stay away from that, because when screen readers come across that, it will see those as carriage returns, and some screen readers will say return, return, return over and over again. What you want to do is clear your returns and always hit insert and then page break, and you'll see it's a hard page break right there, and it'll start it on the next line. Then we can go back and we don't have to show those anymore. We'll make that a heading 1 as well. You can see how the navigation is starting to build here. There, and that's the end of our document. So we haven't cleared too many of our accessibility errors yet, but we'll get back to those. Okay, so now I've got my formatting for headings. That's good. And you can see how I can now jump around inside the document and go to the different spots in the document. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, I think I want to maybe keep that where it is. I'm liking that, but I think what I'll do is I'll insert another page break. So that's where my document will formally start. But I want to add a table of contents, because the table of contents is also active in Word. So it's just like I can navigate through the document using the navigation pane. In Word, I can also navigate, and this works when you export it to a PDF as well. You can navigate through the document if you insert a table of contents as well. All that will be active. And I like to do that next, because it gives me a chance to make sure that my front 2 parts of the document, the cover page and the table of contents, are all set up. So to add a table, to add a properly formatted table of contents, it'll look similar to this, except it'll be inside of the document. So I go references, table of contents, and then I can pick what kind of style of automatic table of contents I want. but I'll take automatic table. Let's go number 2. I like the way that looks. I can click that and boom. Then so now the table of contents in my document, all of these will be completely active. So if I want to test it, I hit control and it takes me right to that area of the document. It jumps it down. And if you want to update the table, you can update the entire table or just the page numbers. Okay, so now I'm referring to page numbers, but if you notice here, none exist. So if I want to add page numbers, I'll go to the bottom of one of the pages. Just double click here. Now I can add a footer. And you'll see it opens up a header footer menu right at the top of the screen. I want to add a footer. And it gives you a bunch of pre-done ones that are available through that Microsoft kind of make for you ahead of time. But what I think I might do, this one kind of looks nice. I'll add it in. So now I've added a page number and it's also given me a nice little frame around the screen. So now I've got page 2 at the bottom, page 1. I've got my table. I can close the header and footer. You know what else I think I might want? I'd really like a header on this. So I think what I'll do is go back down here and I'll double click at the top. I'll paste in my title. Make sure it has the proper font. Insert maybe a little logo there. So if I go insert picture, and I can get stock images or online pictures, I'm going to do an online search for Global Accessibility Day. So it's a little logo I can insert into the header, make it look a little nice. And you can resize that down. You can close that. So there, now I've got a little header, got my table of contents. I've got my little header, my page numbers. So I think what I want to do next is I'd like to add a cover page. So if I go to the insert menu, add a cover page, kind of pick one out of the list here. That one looks like it might work. And you'll notice where the title of because I added a title to the document, it will automatically add a title. You can add a subtitle. Let's get rid of that. You can add a date. So now I've got a pre-done cover page with a date, the author's name, title automatically added in. Make sure it's all titled properly, make sure it's capitalized properly. So there, now I'm pretty good, I think, with my formatting. I've got a header, I've got all of my navigation panes set up. But you'll notice over here on the right, I still have some accessibility things that I need to fix up, and we can do those now. And the first thing is it's saying I'm missing alternative text. Now, alternative text is where you're not editorializing the images that are in your document, but you want to just kind of describe the picture for people who are using screen readers and those types of things. So when I'm on the right, like if I click on picture 4, it'll say, so it's found in the header that I have a new picture added without any context to it. So I'm able to add a description or mark that as decorative. So if you mark it as decorative, the screen readers they'll just skip over it. But I'd like to add a little description to it. So I think the description I'm going to add is global accessibility awareness a logo and that'll work. And then you'll notice when I go back that that error is now gone. So rectangle. So it's actually seeing the rectangle around this document as an image. But we're going to mark that as decorative because you know what, it doesn't really mean anything to the content of the document. So I'm going to mark that as decorative. So there, that error goes away. Now we're going to go to picture 7. That's also the logo. We can add a description. Just call that the GAAD logo. Now you want to spell that out normally. I'm a bit of a slow typer. But it'd be interesting to see, because one of the nice features of Microsoft Office now is you can actually get their artificial intelligence to reach out to the internet and actually provide a description for you if you like. So if you click the generate description for you button, it just says it's text. So that's not really descriptive enough for me. So let's go GAAD logo. So that one's all fixed up. So we go back into our accessibility checker. Now we're starting to work through the errors. Let's see what picture 1. Okay, so there's a few things going on here with picture 1. It's obviously a picture with some context. So if I click on that, I can add description or mark as decorative. Well, it's not decorative because it's part of the content. It's part of the information in the document, and you want folks who are using screen readers to be able to understand the context of that image. So I can go add description. And again, you can do the generate description for me. A group of medical professionals. But it says Microsoft's actually saying this description is generated with fairly low confidence. And if you're happy with that as what your description of that image is, or if there are particular people you might want to reference them. But if it's for Brock, I would put, they're a group of medical professionals from Brock, and I would take out that description where it says it's low confidence. And there, that would be saved. So now you see that particular error is gone. But there's another particular issue that it's showing me here is this particular image, which is picture 5, same image. You see how it's missing the alt text. Put that back in. So that's that one, the pair of feet on a yoga mat. But I'm going to go back up to this one. So that description's correct now. But you'll see this text is, you want to always keep your text left justified. Wrapping text is not a good idea when you do when you're trying to make your document fully accessible. So again, just click on that and you'll see, if I click in line with text, it's going to move all that text down and it gets rid of that error for me, which is great. So now it's below the image. Let's go to chart. Now charts are a little bit different. Because this is an active chart coming in from Excel. So I've created a little sales chart here. The description is going to have to be pretty detailed because you're trying to describe all the information in a chart. So I'm going to add a description. This description is going to say regional sales north is 30%. South is, what are we at in the south? 25%. And in the west, they're not doing too good. They're only at 10%. And then the east is doing great. They're at 35%. So the screen readers will be able to describe what's going on in the chart for those folks. So now we've eliminated another error. So we're slowly getting through them. Picture 2. Let's see what we can find out about that one. Now this is a picture that a lot of the AI um, description generators, you know, I think it's not going to do a very good job figuring out what this one is. But let's take a look. So it thinks it's a person wearing a VR headset, but it's actually a person using a microscope, right? So we want to fix that. And if it's at a particular place at Brock Labs, you want to add that. If not, if it's just a decorative image, you can add it as decorative. But I would certainly say that this is um, it would you could just um, add the description in. Slowly working through it. Picture 3, add a description. Let's see what the generated one is. Two people talking. Yes, technically it's two people talking, but we mostly want to let people know it's a doctor helping patient with her. Slowly getting through the errors. Error number 5. You'll notice this is, again, we've got the text over to the right. We want to make that in line. Perfect. That fixes that error. Let's verify the description. A pair of legs and feet on a yoga mat. You know what? I think that one works. Why not? So now it's saying we have an error where there's hard to read text contrast. So you'll notice up here where I've got text that's gray. That was formatted a little different, that text. So I want to make sure it's the same as the other stuff. I want to make sure it's Arial and it's 12. But you'll see here it's saying that we've got the wrong color ratio. Color ratios you're looking to have is at least 7:1. That's 7:1 dark to white. So what we're trying to do, let's make sure that that's black, so it matches the rest of the document. So I'm going to go in there. Boom, got rid of that error. So you'll see that error will come back if it's hard to read. So I can just highlight that text, make sure I have the right color picked. Error gone. So there's a table error on the cover page. This is one of the problems that happens with Word when the cover page adds a table in. Sometimes it'll show as an error. If you add a table style, a lot of times that will get rid of the error. A lot of times it won't. That's why sometimes I personally like to make my own cover pages and then just format it properly. Um, that's up to you. I don't like doing it that way. Um, I'd like to make my own because I don't feel the reading order is necessarily works very well in tables. And I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if that's something Microsoft's kind of working on. But if I go to the other tables that are a little bit lower, which are actual tables with information in them, I see that some of that text is still a little off. So I'm going to select those tables. I'm going to make sure they're all 12. Make sure they're all in Arial. Oh, now my formatting's a little off, so I'm going to want to make those the right size. So I'm going to bring that in. I think I'm going to make that another page. Let's make that another heading. I'm going to make that table style. That'll reformat it to bring it all in line. Let's find that table. I think I'm going to delete this cover page. I don't like the way that looks. I'll make my own title. Let's see if I can find a cover page that's formatted a little bit better. Let's try that one. Well, not bad. I can mark that as decorative. I can mark that as decorative. And we're down to the last table. Let's format that with the same style as the other table. There. So now we've kind of eliminated all of our errors. But you know, I think I still want to have that go insert page break. The other thing I like to do with tables is just check the reading order. So a good way to do that, if you click on the first tab, the first spot on the table and just hit tab, if it tabs through the tables in the order you want the table to be read, and you see how it's going from left to right, that's how we want it to be read. There, we've got it pretty formatted pretty good, I think. So, but a few other things that I think we want to check is we've got those errors fixed. I want to kind of see how it reads. So a lot of times we have, how's our time doing? We're almost halfway. Perfect. So now I've got it formatted, which is great. The next thing I want to do is just check if it reads properly. And a lot of folks, you know, probably about 15% of the population use some type of assistive devices, readers, things like that when they're looking at documents. And screen readers are not perfect. They do have issues, but a lot of the issues can be fixed if we kind of format the text properly. So I'm just going to reshare my screen and make sure I've got the volume turned up. There we go. So now you should be able to hear what the screen reader does. So some web documents just don't pick it up. So I thought I'd show you an option, something that happens. So if I'm here in the document and someone's using a screen reader, you know, we all use all kinds of acronyms for our different organizations we work at. Hey, Maureen, what's ITS? Is Information Technology Services at Brock? I think that's what it's called.
Yes, ITS. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So ITS and ITS can be really confusing for screen readers, right?
Yeah, that apostrophe is deadly.
Yeah. So if you go under the review tab and you want to hear what your document sounds like when it's read by a screen reader, you can do that. So you just place your cursor, you know, where you want to hear it, and then I hit the read aloud button and it brings up a little player there.
For instance,
and I can pause it to listen to what it's reading. So I'm going to start this from here and I'll let everyone listen to it. And I'm able to slow the reading speed down. You know, I can have a male or female voice. But I'll let you guys listen to what it sounds like when you're dealing with acronyms. So I'll just let this play.
in general, screen readers do not recognize abbreviations and acronyms and read them as if they were typical English words. For instance, the acronym ITS would not be read by screen readers as the intended ITS but as ITS. To assist with accessibility, we suggest using periods between letters, e.g., ITS versus ITS, in an acronym may help screen readers parse the acronym.
So does that hopefully that makes sense to everybody. So if someone had a screen reader and you were telling them, you know, if you have a problem with your computer, call ITS, they might not know what that means, right? And so if they understand that it's ITS, but it's also really important that you'd want to never assume that the reader knows what the acronym actually means. Even common terms like MBA, you know, if you're working in Brock, you know, people might not know what that means. So it should be, you know, clearly defined first, where, for example, you don't want to say it's a master's of business administration or whatever MBA stands for in this case, right? And then also consider that acronyms you might have the same acronym for various things, right? So for example, CAS has been used for both the Children Aid Society and Canadian Aid Society. So you really want to consider ahead of time. You want to write it out, right? So I've got some examples kind of down here from Brock. These are all acronyms I found that exist at Brock, and I'm going to let the screen reader kind of read them, and you can hear what it sounds like as you go along.
CPI,
So CPI worked. It saw that was abbreviation.
Kappa, FAS.
So it's a Kappa, right? So that's Maureen Center. Well, let's see what it does with FAHS.
CCE,
Oh, let me back it up.
HRE, F. Dot.
Jumping ahead here. So Faculty of Applied Health Sciences at Brock is often called FAS or FOSS or FAHS. So let's see what the screen reader does with it.
Kappa, FAS.
So it's calling it FAS. So if people are used to hearing it as FOSS, but they're hearing it as FAS, that might not make sense, right? So here's another example coming up.
CCE.
So it picked up that one. Human rights and equity. What does it think about that one?
HRE.
So pick that up as HRE.
F.A.H.S.
So that's good. That's letting them know it's an acronym. But if I was to format an acronym somewhere, I would do it like this. So this part here.
Faculty of Applied Health Sciences, FAHS.
So if you format your acronyms like that, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like that throughout the document, you can still do that after, but I always like to put the periods in. Screen readers are not perfect. Sometimes they pick it up, sometimes they don't. But if you test it out, if you test the acronym out in one spot and just carry it through the rest of the document that way, you'll probably be fine. One of the other things I think people get wrong a lot of times with screen readers is when they're doing contact information. So I've got kind of two options here for contact information. We're going to make that 12. So I'm going to let this read Associate Professor Bob Smith's. It's going to read his contact info out.
Wrong. Info, Professor Bob Smith.
Should you use short forms? I think it's okay. I'd rather have it be long. So this is the info for Professor Bob Smith, right?
Info, Professor Bob Smith. Male, 1812, Sir I.
So the problem with that one is it's Professor Bob Smith, male, right? This person could be confused that you're basically saying Professor Bob Smith is a male, right? No, but we're trying to let people know that this is where you mail Professor Bob Smith stuff. But the way that the screen reader reads it, it doesn't really let the person know that this is a different line. And they may get confused that, okay, so Professor Bob Smith's a male, but I'm really kind of looking for his address here. So we'll keep that going.
Info, Professor Bob Smith. Male, 1812 Sir Isaac Brock Way, St. Catharines, Ontario, L2S3A1. Bob Smith at brocku.ca.
I like to put email in front of that to let the person listening know that there's an email address coming that you might want to take note of.
OWH number 2304.
So the O, a lot of people will get that means that's where his office is, but there's nobody really knows what WH stands for, and this part's a problem because it'll show it up as it'll say hashtag 2304 instead of like office number 2304.
WH number 2304. P. 90568855550 2308.
So you see the problem there is it's seeing that as EXT, not extension, right? So when the reader, there's a few things that could be confusing for someone here if they're trying to get a hold of Professor Bob Smith and they use a screen reader. I think I would like it if it was shown on the web, or if it was done if it was on in a document. I'd like it to look something like this.
Correct. Contact information for Associate Professor Bob Smith. Mailing address, 1812 Sir Isaac Brock Way, St. Catharines, Ontario, L2S3A1. Email address, bobsmith@brocku.ca. Office location, Welch Hall, 2nd floor, office number WH2304. Direct phone number, 905-688-5550 extension 2308.
So I just think that's a much better way to kind of format out someone's contact info in a document or on a website. It may be a little bit more work, but for the end user who are using screen readers, 100% it's going to have a better result. No question about that. Another thing to think about here, I think I'm going to move that down a page, is link formatting. Links are usually very long, complicated numbers and letters. They kind of look like a squirrel ran across the keyboard. The problem with them is that when you actually listen to them, because you can definitely see that that's a link, right? And this is a link to it's a cancer it's a cancer report thing that I found on PubMed. Just make that the right font. Slowly fixing this document up. So I'm gonna let that. So this is a lot of times the way a document or a website will have a link, right? So I'm gonna play that one for you.
Assessing the need for a standardized cancer human biobank. CA Hub findings from a national survey with cancer researchers. https://doi.org/1093/JNCI-monograph/LGR007.
And that's not even a really long link when you think about it. And it's just awful to listen to, right? Like, it's just really bad. So a better option could be, take out that and just link the text. Unfortunately, you're not letting them know that this is a link necessarily in it. And it's also, this is still very long.
The need for a standardized cancer human biobank. CA Hub findings from a national survey with cancer researchers, JNCI monographs, Oxford Academic, OUP.com.
So there's a lot of stuff there you probably don't need, right? So I would format this to be something more along this line if I wanted to link to that particular report.
To learn more, go to Assessing the Need for a Standardized Cancer Human Biobank.
And JAWS and the other screen readers plus Word, people would know, people who use screen readers, they can hit the control and then the link, and it'll take them to that. They'll be able to see that. Right. There you go. Takes them to that link. So that's the way I would format my links. And to do that, if I just remove that hyperlink, I can go. I'll click on the link, bring it up. There's my article. I'm going to copy that. So Control C. To learn more, go to. I'll highlight that. Insert link. Insert link. And I can add the address right there, hit OK. Now it's formatted properly. So when someone wants to go to that link.
To learn more, go to Assessing the Need for a Standardized Cancer Human Biobank. Alt text.
And then it'll just keep reading. But now we've got everything formatted right. It's 10 to 1. I can send this back to my boss. Ooh, I got an extra space there I want to get rid of. So if I go to home, I can get rid of that. There, now it's navigating properly. Yeah. Perfect. Last thing I like to do, ooh, I got a blank page in there. I want to get rid of that. Not sure where that came from. There we go. Hit save. No accessibility errors. It actually says at the bottom that my accessibility is good to go. I've got my navigation all set up. There. And a few things to think about when you're doing the text formatting. And I can get it back to my boss, and I'm all set for, I can go home early on a Friday. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I know that the screen readers are not perfect, but they do. They're much better than they used to be, especially at picking up acronyms. But I like a good practice is just go to what the acronym is, hit play, and don't be afraid to listen to it to make sure it makes sense when it reads back to you. So does anyone, if anyone has any questions, they can let me stop sharing the screen, because I want to get everyone out of here at 1 o'clock. I think we got most of it. At least I have a fully accessible document ready to go for my boss, and I can go home early on Friday.
There you go. Mitch, did you have a one-page summary too? Did that go out with the announcement, or
it did not? But I'll make sure that because everybody signed up,
yep.
We'll get that. But I thought what I do now, because I've got a few minutes, I'm gonna ask everyone if they think they learned a bit.
Do a poll.
Because everybody likes their polls. So everyone can let me know that they learned something. So we'd like to get your responses to that. That'll be showing up on the screen. So this will be good, and we'll hopefully get some feedback that folks learned a little bit. We'll be able to gauge between what they started with and what they ended with. I think the big thing to take away is if you get the formatting right, that's kind of half the battle. Make sure you keep everything left justified. Don't use any weird fonts, whatever that means. Make sure you get the alt text descriptions that work for your document. Make sure you get if formatting's half the battle, and then just go through the accessibility errors one at a time. If you're making your own document, just keep the accessibility checker running all the time, and you'll probably be in pretty good shape. But the screen readers are not perfect. They just aren't. But it's a good idea to try them out. And play with the words a little bit till you kind of get them right. That's key. So, if anybody has any questions, they want to email me, I'll put my email in.
Oh yeah, thanks. That would be great.
Because there might be, if anyone needs help formatting a document.
Sure.
Because everybody gets sent one that probably isn't. Of
course.
Isn't perfect, that's for sure. But I'll close that poll, and we just wanted to do one more thing. For Global Accessibility Awareness Day before everyone heads out. I'm just going to do if you could just add we're going to do a little word cloud for everybody. So if everyone can just type a few quick words in to to describe what you learned today. You can just type it in, and it'll create a little word cloud for us. Just a fun thing to do at the end. And a few notes about Global Accessibility Awareness Day. If you go to their website, there's all kinds of, they do all kinds of events. They do all kinds of different little outreach things today. A lot of them through webinars. They have some ones that are in person. But we thought we'd just put this. I mean, we kind of threw this together a couple of weeks ago to do something for today. But hopefully, folks got a little something out of it. Everybody uses Word. Some people almost all day, every day. So it's nice to know that those tools exist. There's research by Microsoft that the average attachment gets forwarded 4 to 5 times. So you don't really know where your stuff is going, and you don't know who's reading it. So we want to make sure that everyone can read and access all the information that we produce. I mean, I can't imagine how many documents and how much information a place like Brock generates in a day, right? So, and you don't always know where it goes. It can be posted on websites, it can be posted anywhere. So we're really trying to make sure that anyone who reads our stuff has ability to read it and enjoy it just as much as anyone else. So, Miigwech, Noah, thank you to everyone for their time. Hopefully everyone got a little something out of it. And yes, we are going to share the recording with everyone who was able to come today. And if anyone has any feedback that they'd like to send our way in an email, I put my email in there. And I think everybody knows how to get a hold of Maureen, right?
Everybody knows how to get hold of me.
Everybody knows how to get a hold of Maureen.
Yeah.
Right.
So between you and me, we'll make sure everybody gets the summary sheet and the recording.
Yeah.
Great.
And if there's any way I can help with if anyone has any questions or they want to do a little presentation similar for your team, let us know. And hey, we actually got it done in 1 hour.
There you go.
I'm shocked. I didn't know I could do it in an hour.
There you go.
Under the gun.
Well, Mitch, I want to thank you so much for your time with us today. And I also want to thank everybody who showed up today and for your interest in being inclusive and for making our institution more inclusive, because this is the kind of everyday life stuff that, makes people feel like they've been thought about or forgotten. So, so yay, all of you for caring. And let's stay in touch with each other. And any of you who are in departments or areas in your respective workplaces who are in a position, to request some follow-up or ask for some follow-up, we are delighted to provide it. So have a great rest of your Thursday. Have a restful and restorative holiday weekend. And thanks again, Mitch. And boldly go.
Thanks, Maureen.
Welcome.